After almost a year away, Double Jump returns. I basically stopped making this show when I joined RetroWare TV, since it seemed redundant with all of their programming, but I may resurrect it from time to time in order to talk about non-handheld games that interest me. With that in mind, let's get on with the show. The other day I was at a thrift store and I spotted a strange-looking Genesis cartridge on the shelf. The game was called Whac-A-Critter, and it appeared to be an unlicensed game. I picked it up for $2 because for some reason I can't resist unlicensed games, and now I'm going to show it to all of you. The first tip-off of a pirate or unlicensed game is the cartridge, and Whac-A-Critter is no exception. It's in a weird, short cartridge, and it's obviously very different from Genesis games that you're used to. The second tip-off is that the game is published by Realtek, a company I had never heard of. A little digging once I got home revealed that this game was actually made by a company called AV Artisans Incorporated, and it was the only game that they ever made. But before I got into all the research, I decided to give this game a spin and see how it played. I didn't have high hopes for this one because most unlicensed games are pretty bad, and with a name like Whac-A-Critter, you need to set your expectations accordingly. The game starts off with the Realtek logo and then some spooky music. Then you see the princess and her bear thing sort of dancing or something. Honestly, the animation here is not so hot, so it's kind of hard to tell. A castle-type building starts creeping out of the background, and then suddenly an evil robo-kitty steals the princess and runs away. Next you see the prince run by with a mallet, wearing what looks like a big blue diaper and a tiny cape. The next screen you'll see is the title screen, which shows the words Mallet Legend. For some reason, the name of the game on the cart and the title screen is different, but whatever. It tells you to press any key, and I pressed every button on my controller trying to get the thing to work. Finally, I figured out that any key means any direction on the D-pad. I thought this was really strange, but then I found out that Whac-A-Critter actually had a custom controller sold separately that was a 3x3 grid of buttons you hit, much like a real whack-a-mole game in the arcades. Sadly, this was the best picture I could find of it, and I doubt I'll ever see one in real life, but it's interesting nonetheless. Okay, moving on to the game itself. It starts off with a tiny map similar to the later Adventure Island games or something like Mario World. You don't control it though, your little diaper prince just runs into the very first one. This is where the meat of the game takes place. It's basically a straightforward whack-a-mole game. You try to hit the moles while avoiding the bear guy and princess. If you hit them, they yell out, "Oh no!" in a hilariously bad sound effect. Sadly, that's all I can say about the game. The first level is near, if not impossible, to complete with the Genesis pad. There are simply too many moles on screen for you to get them all. My best score so far is 36%, and that was not enough to get to level 2. My guess is that the game would be easier with the special whack-a-mole controller, but I still have a feeling it would be really tough. I read online that it has 6 levels, but chances are I'll never make it to the second one, so it doesn't really matter. The back of the box for the game says that no one has ever been able to beat this game, and that seems like it's probably true. Realtek only published 2 more games, and both of those they developed themselves. The first was called Earth Defense, and the second was called Funny World and Balloon Boy. Both came in the strangely shaped Genesis cartridges, but I haven't been able to get my hands on either one, so I really can't say much more about them. Overall, I'd say this game would really only interest someone like me that likes to collect unlicensed games. The game itself is pretty crappy, and you've basically seen all it has to offer here, so save your money and go play something good. Thanks for watching, and please visit RetroWareTV.com for more great videos.